Alright, I think, are we actually live? Can't really tell. Looks like we're live. I'm gonna turn this down. Okay, do I have a link to the past? Look at my channel. Yep, alright, I got it. Alright, let's share this, and let's get the show started. Welcome to a new thing I'm wanting to do for my channel. Live with a new show. I don't know what this is going to actually be called. I was thinking like a solo podcast, but I plan on having guests on at some point. Not today, because it's a little short notice. I actually woke up this morning being like, I need content for my channel. What is quick and easy to do? And I'm like, well, let's just fire up the streaming software and see what happens. I was going to start doing this at like 6:30, but then I went on a 3-hour long walk today, and so I left the house around 1:30, got back around 4:30. I'm turning myself down a little bit, and then I passed out. I woke up an hour ago, so my sleep schedule's screwed up beyond recognition, and I got work tomorrow. Fun, fun, fun. So right now it's just called like Media's live show. Nothing special. No name pending. And if you're here, I'm still kind of just sending my link around. Live show channel. I'm just sharing this around the usual places. And if Coop or HP message me wanting to join in, then I'll hop on Discord and let them in. I don't expect them to even be up at this time. It's 9:30 at night, and they're all working men, much like myself. All right. I need a new camera. It looks fine on my OBS, but then on my actual screen, it looks super grainy. My hair's not great either. Like I said, I just woke up an hour ago after a 3-hour walk. So you might be asking yourself, if you've been here for a while, where have you been? It's been almost 4 months since you uploaded a video, Media. Yeah, so the thing about that, my last video, which was the Valentine's Day special, for this year, that was actually the last thing I recorded before starting my new job. I started my new job in December. I actually recorded that video back in November, because I knew it was going to take a long time to edit. The new job takes up a lot more of my time than the old job did. For those of you who don't frequent my Discord or Twitter, I still call it Twitter. This is the housekeeping segment. I moved. I moved back in October. Uh, and it's been kind of stressful. I gotta turn this down. I know it's super turned down on your screen, but not on mine. So, or maybe I could just turn my computer volume down. There, that's better. That's much better. Okay. I moved in October, so I had to quit my job. I lived in Fenton, and now I'm back at North County, where I grew up. In fact, I'm like right down the street from where my aunt lived for a very, very long time. I love the house. I love the fact that I get to see my family more often now. The problem for me has been the new job. I actually really like my new job more than my prior job, but it takes up a lot more time of my day. When I was living in Vinton, I lived 5 minutes away from my job, and it took up 8 hours a day. Now I live 15 to 20 minutes from my job, depending on traffic, and it takes up 9 hours of my day. So, Ashbarian, welcome. Hopefully the tornado didn't hit too bad. It actually did. Not my house. We were actually unaffected, but I probably shouldn't say this because you guys could get pretty close to where I actually live. I live near a park that got wrecked by a tornado, and this was actually a couple weeks ago. This wasn't even the big tornado that just hit St. Louis recently. This was a few months ago now. But I know someone who is a very good friend of mine, good friend of the family. She basically she is family. She is family. She's literally my brother-in-law's sister. She actually works at the apartment complex that got ripped up by that tornado. You might have seen the video on Twitter that went viral. She actually sent that to me. It was like I was there. Like, well, she sent that to like our group chat. I was shown that video and it was like, oh, such and such person was there. Like, oh, yeah, it did affect our area. It has affected our business. Had a lot of cancellations that week. Had to change a lot of plans and stuff. But I'm fine. Everyone I know is fine. And the city will recover. The city is used to this. St. Louis is very used to tornadoes and floods. Like we got a lot of people that know what to do in those situations. Anyway, new job takes up 9 to 10 hours of my day now, and what little free time I get at night nowadays is taking up trying to I've been trying to catch up on a lot of anime that I've missed, keep up with seasonal anime a lot more, and also work on my new books, Agents of Night Watch. I've been saving up money for book four to get that published. It's basically done. I also want to get a new editor. No offense to my editor, but I need someone with more discerning eyes, uh, and who's more willing to kind of like enhance my story rather than just uh, fix grammatical and spelling errors. Uh, so that's the main housekeeping thing. I actually recorded a couple videos in like January or February, like right after making the Valentine's Day special. One of them will come out eventually. I just need to get motivated to edit it. I haven't been motivated to edit at all. It's part of the reason why I'm doing this live and not like recorded and then that's who yeah. Uh but yeah, there's that video that will come out. There's another video that I didn't even finish recording. I was just like I'm not feeling this yada yada yada. And then there was another very long series of videos that I had fully recorded, and then as I was editing them, it was a gameplay thing. I was going through I'll go ahead and say it. I was playing the Quintessential Quintuplets video game, the visual novel, and I realized those videos were very boring. Those games are fine. I like them. They kind of infuriate me. Because for the same reason that a lot of light novels do, but those in particular because they are just so not canon it hurts. Uh, and so I just tossed it away. Actually, I do have two videos. I forgot that I recorded a second video that may see the light of day eventually. I reacted to the honeymoon specials. I got a hold of those after weeks and weeks and weeks of like looking for them and trying to find them. I finally found a copy, reacted to them. I want to do the video that I recorded months ago first. That should actually only take like a day or two to edit if I get motivated. And then after that, I'm going to edit that reaction and have that uploaded. But anyway, this is Media's live show, title pending, or series title pending. And I have a couple things on the docket. So first up on the docket, so for this first segment, I'm gonna just go over things that caught my interest this week. Whether it be like controversies, content, discourse that is going on on the internet right now. And so I have two things that I want to kind of address as far as that goes. The first is Doom Eternal. I have not played Doom Eternal yet. I do plan on getting it. In fact, again, I'm trying to like save money and also like get more stuff done. And I know if I get Doom Eternal, that's going to be another like 12, like 2 weeks of my free time. God. And I can't have that right now. I can't. Um, and it's a lot easier for me to resist that temptation because Doom: The Dark Ages does not look good. I don't. I wasn't big on Doom Eternal. Doom 2016 is my favorite Doom game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. At least as far as shooters go. Doom Eternal was a massive disappointment for me. And Doom: The Dark Ages does not look to be fixing any of those same problems. It doesn't have a lot of the same problems, but it has a whole host of new problems that I'm just not here for. Um, and a lot of it's like how counter heavy it is. It wants to be God of War and it's not. Stop trying to make Doom something other than Doom. Like Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 64, and Doom 2016 all have the same feel, the same vibe. And that's what makes those three games better than the other games. Like I do have a lot of respect for Doom 3 for being different, but in its difference, it was just a shallow knockoff of like Half-Life and Halo. And Doom Eternal, I had very little respect for, where it was like a bunch of horrible gameplay ideas done about as well as you can do them, but that doesn't change the fact that like it's repetitive and dumb. And that's where like what I've seen from Doom: The Dark Ages gives me pause. It makes me not want to play it because the AI in that game looks awful. It looks brain dead. Like all the like puzzles are just brain dead. All the platforming sections are brain dead. All the enemies are brain dead. Like I have my interest in Doom: The Dark Ages plummeted the moment that first like gameplay reveal came out and I saw like how handholdy it was going to be. And from what I've heard, like that's exactly what Doom: The Dark Ages is. It is baby's first Doom. Like super hands holdy, like just brain dead easy. Even on like the harder difficulties. And that's just like I'm not a masochist, I'm not like that big into Dark Souls, but like I want to feel powerful playing those games, and the only way to make someone feel powerful is to have them overcome incredible odds. So that's it for that section. The second thing I wanted to address was the Lilo and Stitch remake. Uh, it bad. Uh, I opined on this on Twitter. Uh, that ending is horrible. The whole movie, I haven't actually sat down and watched the movie, so I can't like give it a fair judgment. But I will say that like just the spoilers I've seen from it, there are no excuse for. I will not support Disney. I will not support any more Disney live action remakes, and I've been saying that for a couple of years now. Uh, I hope that it just tanks the entire company and everything connected to it. Uh, But yeah, like the only Disney live action remakes that I've enjoyed are the Cinderella one, which was I want to say that was like the first. That was like 2014, 2015 that came out. I don't count Maleficent. Maleficent is its completely its own thing. I think that was also 2014. It is like kind of a Sleeping Beauty remake, but it's definitely a reimagining in the same vein as like a Wicked or there's a book. I don't know if any of you guys remember this or if you're even old enough to know about it, but there's a book called like the true story of the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf, where it turned out the Big Bad Wolf just wanted like coffee or something and kept on. He was sick. I think he like wanted some herbal tea, and he kept on sneezing the houses down by accident, and the pigs were like already dead from the house collapsing on them. Uh, and so he didn't think he did anything wrong. That's Maleficent. Um, so I put that in a completely different camp from the other live action remakes. But yeah, Cinderella I really liked. Mostly because it cut out those annoying mice that kept on eating up screen time in the original. And it gave the prince an actual personality, which the Cinderella sequels did, but the original movie did not. Uh, and then I also really liked The Jungle Book from I think that was 2016. That was John Favreau directed it. Had like I think it had like Idris Elba as the tiger, or maybe he was the panther. I can't remember who all was in that. I think Bill Murray was Baloo. And I definitely remember Christopher Walken as King Louis, and they made King Louis in a Gigantopithecus instead of an orangutan for some reason. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. That was a fun movie. And it was a remake of a movie that actually kind of deserved it. Jungle Book, the original Disney movie, not the best Disney movie. That was the one that Disney was working on when he died, and it shows. I actually just watched it with my niece about a week ago. And the animation quality is definitely a dip down from what Disney had been doing in the previous 10 years. Uh, and so I think it benefited from having a remake, not as much as like it could have. I didn't end up liking Mowgli, which was the other Jungle Book live action adaptation that came out around that same time. But I feel like that was a step in a better direction. Like Disney can have their Disney version of Jungle Book. If anybody else is going to do Jungle Book, they need to try to make it more like the book. And I think that for a lot of things, I think that with Pinocchio, which we got the horrible Disney live action remake of Pinocchio that was just shot for shot and ugly as sin. Then we got the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio movie, which was not great, but it was better than Disney's live action and also like a real solid adaptation of the book. I still think Pinocchio can be done better. I think Pinocchio should stay in animation, and I also think it should be like I would like an anime studio to take a crack at like a science like I don't like Science Saru, but I think Science Saru would be great for like a Pinocchio anime adaptation. With their like weird art style. I think that would lend itself good for Pinocchio. Speaking of anime, uh I'm not quite to the main article yet on my docket. I gotta do these timestamps. Hold on. Where's my notes? Clear. Where is it? This is for future people who watch this. I'm gonna say, just say docket, housekeeping, and then in the news let's see, that went from about 5 to, we've been going live for 20 minutes. So at the 20-minute mark, doing what I've watched. I need to keep that open on my phone. Because so uh like I said earlier, I've been trying to keep up with seasonal anime a lot more. I only really have the time to watch 2, maybe 3 seasonal anime a season. So my tastes are very like particular about that. Uh, you didn't see that in the corner. Uh, and then you also got my manga reading list, which I have 2 manga that are ongoing right now that I've been reading. Should be 3, but I'll actually do Ranger Reject right now. Ranger Reject, aka Go Go Loser Ranger. I ended up dropping the anime. I have not watched season 2 yet. I was very disappointed in the adaptation of season 1. I was really hyped about it the first 3 episodes, but then they started speed running through the manga, and I don't think I ended up even watching the finale. But I have been keeping up with the manga. The manga has been insane. It looks like it might be in its final stretches. Uh, but unfortunately, Neji Haruba has fallen ill again, and so Ranger Reject has been put on another indefinite hiatus. This is like the third time that this has happened to Ranger Reject. Uh, Next, speaking of indefinite hiatuses, I checked out a manga called More Than a Married Couple But Not Quite Lovers. This was actually an anime back in, I want to say like 2020, a couple of years ago, 2020, 2021, maybe 2022. I can't remember. I watched it on a whim after making my Valentine's Day special. I ended up really liking it for its kind of pacing. Um, it's a show that, if you can buy into the premise, you'll have a good time, but it's a really hard premise to buy into. The premise is that this high school, for whatever ungodly reason, does marriage practicals. Uh, that's not a thing. Where basically they take 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, and force them to live in an apartment on campus together, and they grade them based on like their intimacy, because that's that's totally gonna work out. Like it's a really stupid premise, and then the actual premise kind of kicks in episode 1, which is basically Toradora is basically just a much hornier version of Toradora, where you have like the 2 main characters, Jiro and Akari. They get paired up together. Jiro is in love with this other girl. Akari is in love with this other boy. Those 2 are paired up together. So Jiro and Akari are trying to like boost up their rating so that they can be good enough to like swap partners with the other couple, and then they end up falling in love because that's how these stories go. Very typical, very cliche. Like I said, it's basically just horny. It's basically just Toradora with the horniness cranked up to like an 11. Uh, but I had a lot of fun with it, so I checked out the manga. The manga is monthly. I caught up with the manga. Yeah, it gets better. Season 1 covered a lot of decent material. I actually got pretty far in the manga. So I think like a two more core season could actually wrap it up. Uh, and then that manga, like literally a week before I caught up, or like I caught up like 2 weeks after the newest chapter had dropped, and then the announcement came out that the manga was also going on hiatus so that the author can make it as good as they possibly can, taking their time with fleshing out the ending and stuff. Respect. Uh, Makes me actually appreciate it a lot more knowing that like they actually care about their own story and aren't just like, we need cash now. Which is kind of where Quintuplets is at right now. Haven't checked out the light novel yet. Haven't seen an English translation of it yet. But like between that and how, uh, I know I plan on releasing a video talking more about it, but the honeymoon special ended up being very mid, very disappointing. Uh, so then the other manga that I've been reading, I'm saving the obvious one for last. The other manga I've been reading is a brand new one called Naki Nagi. I actually mentioned this on Twitter last night. I just caught up with that. It's only got like 8 or 9 chapters. It's by the same artist who does Shikimori, or who did Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie, which is uh, very dear to my heart. That was my comfort food when the pandemic started, and I had also read the manga before then as well. At least a little bit of it. I finished the manga months and months ago. And I did have Shikimori and you from that show as my number one anime relationship in my Valentine's Day special this year, and I stand by that. Uh, Naki Nagi is a completely different type of show or different type of story. It is about a witch from the deep sea who starts to mingle with humans and forms this like cutesy friendship with a young high school girl named Nagi or Nagisa. There's a Nakika and Nagisa, Naki Nagi, and she's this soft, squishy, marshmallow of a girl who is super in love with this awkward, quiet, stoic dude in their class. And Nakika uses her like deep sea magic to like try to help her uh, own up to her feelings and confess to this dude. Um, it's really cute, and you can really tell. Like, I went into this knowing that it was the same mangaka as Shikimori, but even if I didn't, if I just saw some of these panels out in the wild, I'll actually pull up one that I posted on Twitter last night. Where is it? Where's it at? This one. This one. The way that he draws these eyes and like this facial shape, like this is his cool girl facial shape that he used a lot in Shikimori. And I also like the paneling here where like she's staring off at she's actually staring at this dude he just fell. That's the person that she's in love with. But her eyes are on her. There's no like real romance between these two yet. It is teasing like some kind of Yuri relationship with them. She does not understand love or human emotions or whatever because she's like this eldritch creature from the deepest parts of the ocean, and she is living vicariously through Nagisa. And I think it's really neat. Uh, Especially like nowadays with how prevalent AI is becoming within the creative spaces and within creative discourse. There's actually a huge controversy recently about a self-published indie author, which is my wheelhouse, using Chat GPT to write his story and leaving the AI prompt in the final draft. And that is just beyond lazy, because like that it shows that he's very clear that this, I'm assuming it was a guy, I don't know, it's very clear that this author is not even reading what they are supposedly writing. And as someone who does write a lot and has 3 published books with another on the way, um, I find that offensive. Like, I find the use of AI, generative AI for that stuff, offensive. I do not understand why you would want to put your name out there without actually being the one doing the work. I I don't understand that mindset because, like, it's not a get rich quick scheme. I've made maybe $300 off of my books. I'm a very low selling author. Uh and that is the case for most authors. Like, even people who get traditionally published, like there's an article a couple years ago that was like the average sales numbers for traditionally published authors now is like 12. There are traditionally published books out there that have sold copies in the single digits. You are not going to make money doing writing. Don't do art unless you love doing art. And if you do love doing art, you need to have something unique to you. Not something that like nobody has ever done before as far as like the structure or pacing or style or anything like that. But you need to have like a bit of your signature. And for the author mangaka of Shikimori Nakinagi, that cool girl face structure with those like ringed eyes, that's his signature. That is what makes these his pieces of art. And I think it is important for artists and writers out there to find that thing that only they can do. To use their own unique life experiences, because structures, archetypes, cliches, narrative devices, those are common. Those are genre, that they are all things that connect art. But everyone needs to put a little bit of their own life experience in there, because no two people experience life the exact same way. You put a little bit of that little life experience in there, you will find something unique to yourself, and that is something that AI will never be able to replicate. It can't even begin to fathom that kind of experience, because all it can do is regurgitate what has been fed into it. I was not expecting to do an AI rant on this stream, but here we are. Hey, Blade Charge, slipping for a bit, gonna go to bed. You have a good night. Next week, I'll be doing this a lot earlier. I'll make sure to cut my walk a lot shorter and to get like an energy drink afterwards. I'm planning on doing this every Tuesday night, though, if I enjoy myself, which I'm enjoying myself. So the next thing on my docket are still the same thing. What have I been watching? There's 2 anime that I've been keeping up with. 2 new anime this season. I've already talked about both of them on Twitter. The first one is Witch Watch, which I have been honestly enjoying less and less each week. The opening is an all-timer. Yoasobi and Megami Ishitani of One Piece fan letter fame. That opening gets better and better every time I watch it, and it's got this Todd in the Shadow said this about Uptown Funk back at the end of like 2014 when that song was still new, where it's like it just keeps topping itself. Where as soon as you think you've heard the best part of the song, a new better part of the song happens. And that's what I think of with Witch Watch's opening, where like as soon as you think that it's at its most creative when she's all like doing this, and he like swoops in and saves her from the explosion, and then explodes out with the dolls and collapses in on a shot of blanking on Nico doing like the like that. But then it just keeps finding ways to top itself over and over and over again in the span of just 90 seconds. There's like 9 times where it just tops what happened before. The show is not like that. The show is very slice of life heavy, and sometimes it's great. Like, I think we had a really solid episode this week with Kanchan. I think his name is Kanchi the Tengu, uh, going through his time, his speedster era, which is really funny because Overly Sarcastic Productions just did a video about speedsters where they're like, how do speedsters perceive the world? Do they see it in slow motion all the time? Is it like a gear that they have to hit themselves into? What's the difference between like running fast or moving fast and reacting fast, and who is where on that spectrum? Uh, it made me realize that super speed would be like one of the worst powers to have, though. They did a really good job with that gag. Uh, and I also like the gag earlier in the episode with Otto Man being his wife's Ottoman. Um, I did not see that coming. I was like, oh my god, Japanese wordplay. That's right. That's like 90% of Japanese comedy is wordplay. Uh, but the episode before that, I was very down on. I did not like the episode before that with the tea ceremony or whatever. It was so focused on like a character that hadn't been in the show before or since. I do still like the show. I still recommend the show. Just be aware that it is very like gag heavy and not every joke lands. The second one has been my guilty pleasure, and it's the second anime I've been watching anyway. It's Can a Boy Girl Friendship Survive? And this is toxic. This show is so toxic. I love it. Like, normalize teenagers being the little shit stains that they are. I do not have a high opinion of teenagers. I've never had a high opinion of teenagers. I definitely didn't have a high opinion of teenagers when I was one. And it's so rare for a show to, like, just revel in how horrible some of its characters are, because they're not like evil or sadistic or anything. They're just dumb, but dumb in like a realistic way. And I've been really appreciating that. The plot has thickened over the past few episodes, uh, and I've really appreciated that. It also has a bop of an opening. It's by Honeyworks, who are one of my favorite Japanese acts. I first found out about Chico with Honeyworks through the Boruto opening, my favorite Boruto opening, Gamashura. Gamashura, one of my favorite Japanese songs now, probably my favorite Japanese song now. Has been for a couple years now, since that opening dropped. So yeah, Can a Boy Girl Friendship? What? I can't remember what all happened in this episode. In this most recent episode. I'll make sure to take notes starting this week, so I have a little more to talk about. But next up on the docket is an older show. Actually, it's a show that's airing this season, but I just got interested in it, and I'm currently like halfway through season 1. There's a show called Our Last Crusade, or The Dawn of a New World. It's been kind of boring, kind of dumb, really silly. You have one kingdom that's like all about technology, and another kingdom that's all about like magic, and they hate each other, Romeo and Juliet style. It's very Romeo and Juliet. Where these two star-crossed lovers who totally aren't star-crossed. She's so tsundere about it. I've been really interested in it. I haven't seen enough to form an opinion on it. But big thing for this segment, what have I watched, will always be One Piece. Anime is back. It was on like a 6-month hiatus. We got the Fishman Island remake in the meantime. Ever since the anime has come back, it has been popping off. It's Egghead Island. It's the best stretch of Egghead Island, which is we had the Luffy versus Kizaru fight, which was super creative, super fun. The revelation of Saturn as an actual literal demon. And now we're in Kuma's backstory, so we got a little bit of God Valley. We got through the God Valley segment this last week, and now it's gonna be like Kuma in Guinea at the church in Sorbet Kingdom. Let me just... This is why I don't like doing live shows. My sinuses suck. Meanwhile, on Elbaf, spoilers for manga only. Or spoilers for anime onlys, rather. Spoilers for the manga. We are in Elbaf. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, the three strongest Straw Hats, along with the new giant pirates, led by Haruden, and Loki, an ancient giant who is probably the strongest of the giants, are out there, are out of commission, or not out of commission, Loki's out of commission. Everyone else is kind of huddled around them, waiting for lore drops. While everyone else has to deal with an actual literal demon god. Emu has shown up, and has possessed Gunko's body. Gunko, one of the Holy Knights, who has some kind of connection with Brook. It's been popping off. I've been very mixed on Elbaf so far. I love the lore revelations. I love the Harley text that we got in the mural that Frankie found. And I always appreciate arcs that take Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, out of the action for a while. This was thing I really liked about Thriller Bark, which is actually what this arc is reminding me of more and more of now that I think about it. Brook development, promises of Usopp development, scary demon monsters. Yeah, this is very Thriller Bark. And the thing that has been disappointing me is Usopp. This was supposed to be his big arc. He's been very not important post time skip. He had a couple really big moments in Dressrosa and has done next to nothing since then, except he took credit for taking down Page One and Ulti, but he didn't really do much against them. That was all Big Mom and Nami doing all the damage, and a little bit of Yamato when it comes to Ulti. And Usopp has done nothing except hit Gunko with an exploding star and have it do nothing. But I wanted to get into a theory on Emu. I'm of the camp that Emu is a woman because it makes sense. If Emu is the god of the earth, as described in the Harley text and on the mural, then it stands to reason that she would naturally be a woman, because throughout mythologies, the vast majority of earth gods are women. You have Gaia, and then you have Demeter, goddess of the harvest, Mother Earth, that whole concept. A lot of female earth gods. The earth as a concept has been very feminized, while sky gods tend to be masculine. Your Zeuses, your Thors, your Raijins, Susanoo. Alright. But I need to prepare more for next week. Especially with some of the spoilers I've seen for the newest chapter. So then, with One Piece out of the way, time for the main article, the thing that is in the title. We are 45 minutes in. Main article. 45 minutes in. So, this week was the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, and there's a lot of controversy. Not just because Solo Leveling won, but also because Frieren lost. And there's been a lot of discourse surrounding that, and I'm participating in that discourse because Frieren is quite possibly my favorite anime of all time. The only thing that makes me hesitate on saying that is the fact that for a long time, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has been my favorite, and one edge that Full Metal Alchemist has over Frieren is that Full Metal Alchemist is over. So its spot within my hierarchy is like solidified, whereas Frieren could very easily drop down as more seasons come out. And if I decide to jump into the manga and read that, it could also plummet from there. But for right now, those 28 episodes of Frieren are better than any 28 episode stretch of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Meanwhile, Solo Leveling is bad. Solo Leveling Season 2, or Season 1 at the very least. Season 1 at the very least is bad. People who watch anime for a living have been criticizing it heavily. People who react to anime passively have been criticizing it. People who are just like kind of within the anime community have been kind of dogging on it ever since it came out because it is just this super generic fantasy, power fantasy, TikTok edit driven show. It is like all action, no substance. It is flash in the pan. It's everything bad about Demon Slayer, but with none of what made Demon Slayer Season 1 good. It reminded me a lot of SAO, Sword Art Online, with the way it's paced and how like it tries often to be like this edgy, try hard bullshit, but never sells you on the stakes because it's all about aura and hype moments. And like I said, it's edited and paced like fucking TikTok brain rot. That's why I dropped it after 3 episodes. It is TikTok brain rot, the anime. Uh, Maybe that might be a little unfair. It lends itself to TikTok brain rot. And there's a lot of controversy surrounding that because comparatively, Frieren is the most critically acclaimed anime of all time. It's number 1 on my anime list. It's gotten a lot of awards already. Season 2 is being hyped up. It's made it made a lot of reaction channels. A lot of people hit their a lot of reactors hit their stride by reacting to Frieren. It has lended itself to online discourse that has lasted for over a year now, surrounding like the way it does fantasy, the way it treats fantasy races, the way it treats the eternity of elves, the way it treats the fragility of humans, and the way that like so many fantasies make humans to be like this runt of the litter race because like, oh, they're just normal and boring. Every other race is like humans plus, being better at magic, humans plus being tougher, humans plus being better craftsmen, humans plus being smarter, humans plus being having like animal instincts. But no other fantasy show I can think of has like really put value on human life that rivals the value of every other race in the setting. The whole speech that Serie has about like humans need to react faster and grow faster because they live closer to death than any other race. Elves can spend centuries or even thousands of years mulling over decisions, but humans have to be fast. And then capping off that speech by being like, Frieren, if anybody kills you in battle, it'll either be the Demon King or a human mage. Those are the only things that are going to be able to beat you. And that called back to something Freeran said earlier about how she's only lost like 10 times. One was against another elf, 3 were against demons, and the other 6 times were against humans, who none of them had as much mana as her, but they were all faster and quicker to act and react and hit those like high level spells that Freerun finds difficult. Uh, and I think that is just a really important takeaway from Freerun. Way more important than the demon discourse, which is kind of just tiresome at this point. Solo leveling has nothing like that. I have not seen a single like actual discussion on solo leveling's themes or its character arcs or anything beyond like just the generic, oh, this is mom died or something. I can't even remember. Uh, and adding fire to those controversies is the fact that Crunchyroll produced solo leveling. So there is this conspiracy theory that the only reason why it won is because Crunchyroll made it win. Crunchyroll threw a lot of money at solo leveling, a lot more than they have any other show that they've produced. They cannot afford for people to write solo leveling off. And it very much came at the expense of Freerun. Another thing is that solo leveling season 2, I think, just ended or it's ongoing. And so there's a possibility that a lot of people voted solo leveling thinking that they were voting for solo leveling season 2, which by all accounts, solo leveling season 2 is a vast improvement over season 1. I don't care enough to check it out. Or to sit through all of season 1 again in order to get to season 2. But this was Freerun's best shot at winning Anime of the Year, and it got absolutely robbed. And it wasn't the only thing that got robbed. The other 2 big controversies from that night aren't related to solo leveling. There was Demon Slayer winning Best Continuing Series, which is just a crime in and of itself. That might actually irritate me more than solo leveling winning. Because solo leveling winning, I can chalk it up to just shonen slop tards being shonen slop tards. But Demon Slayer winning Best Continuing Series over One Piece and Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, there is something fundamentally wrong with Demon Slayer fans. Either they just don't watch any other shows and they just outnumber everyone who does watch other shows, or they're just brain dead. Those are the only 2 possibilities I can think of, because the newest season of Demon Slayer is far and away the worst. It's a filler season in a show based on a manga that ended 5 years ago. There is no excuse for making that filler season. There is no excuse for splitting the final arc into not 1, not 2, but 3 movies. That is a cash grab. That is shameful. Studio Ufotable should be ashamed of themselves for doing this with Demon Slayer. And I'm not even a big Demon Slayer fan, but even if I was a fan of the manga, which I'm not, I would be extremely pissed about that. I would be extremely pissed about having to spend upwards of $40 because, like, you think, like, if you want to see it without getting, if you're an anime only and you don't want to read the manga and you want to see it without getting spoiled on the animation and stuff, or even if you are a manga fan, you just don't want to be spoiled on the excellent animation, which it will have excellent animation. Demon Slayer always has good animation. I'm not mad about it winning best animation. I think there are shows that have better animation than the newest season of Demon Slayer. I think the newest season of Demon Slayer only had like 30 seconds of really good animation, and it was right at the end. But I'm not mad about that, because Demon Slayer has always been carried by its animation. I know Demon Slayer fans that didn't like the Hashira training arc and the way it was handled, is what I'm trying to say. But say you want to watch it in the theater so that you see this animation on the big screen and not reposted to Twitter, ruining the experience for you. how much are movie tickets nowadays? And how long do you have to wait? Like, I'm talking like between that and getting like a popcorn or soda or whatever, you are going to spend up to $40, possibly even more, to watch a mid-ass war arc. Absolutely shameful. Like, if I would not be as offended by that if it was just a season of anime, like just a 2 cour, because it would probably have to be 2 cour. Like, it takes up like a third of the manga's runtime, so it would have to be at least 2 cours. Thousand Year Blood War, where you have like a 3 cours that come out like a year apart. You could do that with it. But like, just the price tag that they're putting on people's ability to watch the ending of Demon Slayer is, I find offensive. I find it offensive. I'm using that word a lot today for some reason. But yeah, I don't think it deserved to win that award. The other big one, and I'm not as invested in this, but Ninja Kamui winning Best Original Anime. Best Original Anime, there hasn't been any. There hasn't been any good original anime in years. Every good anime is an adaptation of either a light novel or a manga. Who remain what? No, there hasn't been any good manhwa adaptations. Solo Leveling is unironically the best, and I hate that show. Solo Leveling is hands down the best manhwa adaptation, and it's garbage. Sup high powered, high powered like slop, high fire double X. MHA fans migrated to Demon Slayer. Yeah, I can see that. 20 to 30 bucks just for the tickets, and I drink, so it's even more. I haven't actually watched Gundam in a long time. I watched bits of Witch from Mercury because I like the character designs. But I've never kept up with Gundam. And I hate the name of the new one. It's like Jakux or Jukes. I have no idea how to pronounce it, like GQUUXXX or something. Yeah, I'm just ranting and shooting the shit. Do I have anything else? But the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, as bad as they are. Oh, I forgot. Original anime, there hasn't been any really good ones in years. And so I'm not as invested in this, but I will say, Ninja Kamui was probably the worst one of the bunch that was nominated this year. So a lot of people are pissed about that because it's like, it's shown in slop, and a lot of people have been pointing out that the first 3 years of the Anime Awards, they did a really good job giving props to more academic and introspective pieces of like what I would consider art. But post-pandemic, ever since 2020, it's been nothing but shonen slop. It's been nothing but battle series. Like I'm gonna find the tweet so I can actually look at the winners. I put it in my likes. It was it would have been a couple days ago now, or maybe not. Did I not bookmark it? Nope, I did not bookmark it. Did I reply to it, maybe? I'm looking. Nope. I did not reply to it either. But yeah, it used to be like Yuri on Ice was the first thing to win Anime of the Year. Yeah, that, you had Devilman Crybaby, which I hate, by the way. I hate that more than Solo Leveling. But that was very, like, edgy, artsy, all tour driven, like, not the kind of anime that would get super popular. But ever since the pandemic, it's been like Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan and fucking Solo Leveling, uh, and all these other like kind of like I love shonen. Like it's my favorite genre of anime for real. Like I love One Piece, I love Naruto, I love Bleach. Really like the first season of Demon Slayer. I really like Jujutsu Kaisen. I voted for that. Or season 2 at least. I voted for season 2 that year. I was glad when that won. But you don't see like a place further than the universe having a shot anymore like you used to. And I'm not gonna say like it's been casualized or that anime has hit mainstream. And I'm gonna actually make this the main article next week. Anime has always been popular. It's always been as mainstream as it is available. I will not qualify those statements this week. That will be next week. Next week, I will go on a whole big rant about how anime has always, decades, since the 70s, been popular. So look forward to that. High Power says it's pronounced G-Quack. I can see why Devilman won. I mean, I love Naruto. Versus, hey, Crunchyroll, Netflix, you bring it over, people will watch it. Yeah, if you build it, they will come. That's a Field of Dreams line. So, award shows have always been crap. All of them, without exception. There's always insider baseball involved. It's impossible to have an actual meritocracy. I'm going to use the Oscars as an example because the Oscars are kind of like one of the stuffier, more pretentious award shows out there. And they've also been around a lot longer than most other award shows. They've been around longer than the Grammys and way longer than like the Emmys or... Come to think of it, the Oscars might be the oldest award show now that I think about it. I'm going to Google that real quick. First award show to air. Yeah, Academy Awards were the first award show to be televised. And they had already been like, they would have been 30, 20... 27. They would have been like 27 years old by that point. Like Academy Awards are so old they predate television. It used to be a radio show. So yeah, they're really old, and that's why I'm going to pick them apart. With some anecdotal evidence for why award shows have always been crap. There are hundreds of movies that come out every year, possibly even thousands. Nobody has time to watch and evaluate every single movie that comes out every year. And even if they did, there's a thing called recency bias, where the things we watched the most recently tend to stick out a lot more in our minds. We tend to forget the things that we watched a long time ago, or tend to forget how much we enjoyed things that we watched a long time ago. It's always about like, what was it that we most recently watched? The recency bias is a very real thing. It's why all the Oscar bait movies come out in October, November, December, because that enhances their odds of Academy voters remembering the qualities of the film as they go into those voting booths. That's a piece of insider baseball. It's the same exact thing with the Anime Awards, where like a big reason why Solo Leveling 1 is because Solo Leveling 2 is so fresh in people's minds, whereas Frieren doesn't even feel like a 2024 show. It feels more like a 2023 show because it actually was. I also have a big problem with award shows that happen like midway through the year and have weird cutoff dates. It's a big problem I have with the Grammys as well. Oscars, I think, do that better. But more anecdotal evidence for how shit the Oscars have always been. 1939, technically 1940, but any year I give in this little rant will be uh referring to like the movies that came out that year, not when the award show happened. 1939, Gone with the Wind was gonna sweep everything. That was like a bygone conclusion. There was just no movie anywhere near that scale at that time. The only things that could even come close were Wizard of Oz, which also came out that year, yes. And my personal favorite, what I would have voted for, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. The big thing that made Mr. Smith Goes to Washington so beloved was the performance by Jimmy Stewart. Uh, and he was the front runner to win Best Actor in a Leading Role. He lost, and there was a big controversy around it. And it kind of came out that a lot of critics were not wanting to give Mr. Smith Goes to Washington awards because of the way it portrayed the government. This was right on the verge of World War II, of America's involvement in World War II. World War II was actually going on in Europe by that point. And so, like, even criticizing the way that American government was being run at the time was seen as, like, offensive. And so, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington got robbed of. It did end up winning, I think, like, Best Original Screenplay, but that was it. That was the only award it won. And they gave Best Actor to, I used to know this off the top of my head, but I can't remember. Actor Oscar. Come on, load. It was 239. Robert Donat for Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Good movie. I like Goodbye, Mr. Chips. I liked I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. He's good in the movie. Like, he definitely deserved to be nominated. But Jimmy Stewart as Mr. Smith, as Jefferson Smith in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, is one of the greatest performances by any actor of all time. And the Oscars silently admitted this the next year, 1940, by nominating, again, Jimmy Stewart for a movie called The Philadelphia Story, in which he won. It's the only movie that Jimmy Stewart won the Academy Award for. Here's why it's so egregious and why I had to bring up the Mr. Smith Goes to Washington situation. Philadelphia Story might be Jimmy Stewart's worst performance. And he's barely in the movie. He is not the lead actor in that movie. The lead actor in that movie was Cary Grant. He did not deserve to be nominated. Maybe nominate him for Best Supporting Actor. Let him win that. The only reason he was nominated for Best Lead Actor is because the Oscar voters, the Academy themselves, realized that they fucked up royally by snubbing him in the prior year. And then a year after that was when Citizen Kane got snubbed out of every award for very similar reasons. Citizen Kane, heralded as the greatest film of all time, most critically acclaimed film of all time, this masterpiece of old cinema that all the film schools use to teach their entire courses on. It lost to a movie called How Green Was My Valley. How Green Was My Valley is arguably, like, I won't say it's the worst movie to ever win Best Picture, but it's top 5 worst, or bottom 5 Best Picture winners of all time. It's down there. Where Citizen Kane, if it won, it would be pretty close to the top for me. And I'm not even, like, the biggest Citizen Kane fan. I'm not the biggest Citizen Kane fan, but it's still in my top 20 films of all time. Its merits are just that obvious. And that's actually what the Crunchyroll Anime Awards this year reminded me of. Frieren is Citizen Kane, and Solo Leveling is How Green Was My Valley. then there's a whole kind of like, oh, it's an honor to be nominated. Sometimes it's not though. Sometimes you have a situation like Don't Look Up from a couple years ago, where it was just little behind the curtain look at the Academy and who the Academy actually is. They are primarily actors. The vast majority of the people who actually vote for these awards are not technicians, they're not critics, they're actors who want to give their friends a pat on the back and jerk themselves off. Which is why Don't Look Up got nominated for Best Picture, despite critics and audiences alike slandering it. Like let's actually look at the Rotten Tomatoes is not like a good judge of a film's merits because it's just an aggregate of everybody's reviews. It gives you an average score based on that. But it is a good like way to get a bird's eye view on what the discourse surrounding the movie was. Yeah, Don't Look Up has a 55% critic rating and a 78% audience rating. Not a horrible audience rating. That is average. That is a C. That is a C plus movie. And it got nominated for Best Picture because it made a bunch of actors feel good about themselves and feel important. It's basically a real version of like what Team America was saying to make fun of these people. Like, and it's supposed to be all about like climate change, but the thing is, with Don't Look Up, if it's a meteor, all you have to do is look up. Whereas with climate change, you have to like qualify all the research. Like, well, it's getting warmer, but it's also getting more tropical, and it's not really happening everywhere. It's only happening in these select areas, and we keep saying the sea levels are going to rise, but they haven't actually risen in thousands of years. And we keep saying that the ice caps are going to melt, but then every winter they just freeze back over. And we don't really there's more tropical storms and they're getting stronger and stronger, but like is that really a good indicator of climate change, or is that just something gradual that's been going on? Like the truth about climate change is that we haven't been keeping track of the climate long enough for us to make any kind of judgment calls. We need like a few more 100 years of research in order to actually like judge whether the climate is actually like changing at a rapid rate and whether and how much of an impact humans are having. I think humans are having some kind of impact. I certainly don't think the all the carbon we're pumping into our atmosphere is a good thing for the environment. Uh, I do believe that the climate is changing, but I am kind of more neutral on like how negative of an effect humans are having on that, or and how much of it is like stuff that would happen whether we were doing all this stuff or not. What are some other egregious Oscar moments? Not nominating Dark Knight in 2008 was pretty bad. That was also like one of the most critically acclaimed movies of the year and also the highest grossing movie of that year. It should have been a shoo-in for a nomination, but it wasn't because it was a summer movie and the old ass farts of the Academy just forgot about it with their freaking Alzheimer's ridden brains. Uh, the Academy has gotten a lot younger since then. A lot of those people have died off since 2008. Uh, yeah, I can go. I can actually go on and on, and if I spent more time prepping this, if I actually 'cause like I said at the outset, I woke up today at like 1:30 in the morning or 1:30 at night or afternoon. Ugh, Jesus. At 1:30 afternoon, it was like I need content for my channel. I should stream something and just shoot the shit for an hour and a half. Uh, and part of what I kind of want to do with each of these is I want to take something related to the main article for the podcast, and I wanted to rank something based on that. So I looked at all the nominees for Anime of the Year that Crunchyroll has done. Actually, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. I think I can totally shoot up. Jesus Christ, phrasing. I want to talk more about the award shows, but I can't really think of anything. A lot of it's like I said. A lot of it is industry insiders trying to just reward their friends, give people their due, whether they deserve it or not. It's not a meritocracy because there's a lot of things that these voters just don't even see. It's why, especially with things like the Anime Awards, it's just a popularity contest because there's a lot of people who didn't watch the other nominees. Like they watched Solo Leveling, they may have seen Frieren, but they didn't watch. What were the other nominees this year? They didn't watch Kaiju number 8 or Apothecary Diaries. So, what I did is I went and I did a loose ranking of every contender for Anime of the Year. There are a lot I haven't seen. So I'll go through those really quick. I have not seen Yuri on Ice. I did not see either season of Descending Stories. I did not watch Erased. I did not watch Joker Game because it just didn't interest me. I did not watch March Comes In Like a Lion. I did not watch Carol and Tuesday because I'm actually, as much as I love Cowboy Bebop, I'm not actually a fan of that director, like just conceptually and like what they stand for. I did not watch Mob Psycho Season 2. I did watch Mob Psycho Season 1, so I'll get in that. I did not. I've never even heard of "O Maidens in Your Savage Voyage." I didn't care about the premise to Promise Neverland, so I never watched that. I never watched Vinland Saga, and that's kind of up my alley. That's on my list of things to watch eventually. I have not even heard of Appare Ranman. I didn't watch Dorohedoro. I didn't watch Great Pretender. I didn't watch 86, though that's also on my list of things to watch eventually. I did not watch Odd Taxi, and I'm not interested in it because I'm not interested in that art style, and also I saw a single clip that made me, like, not want to support it at all. I have not watched either core of Ranking of Kings. I think it is a travesty that Ranking of Kings was not even done with its first season when it got nominated for Anime of the Year. And so it was like, oh, this is just for the first half of Ranking of Kings Season 1. And then we're going to also put Ranking of Kings Season 2 in next year's awards. I think that was stupid. Didn't see Sunny Boy. Didn't watch Oshinoko. Reason for that is I don't like art about art. I used to like it more. But something like really clicked in me, and I'll actually get into this more because this has to do with why a certain show is ranked as low as it is. Uh, I'm just not a fan of like the self congratulatory nature of like entertainment that's about the entertainment industry and how it's just very masturbatory. I did not watch Delicious in Dungeon. That's another one that's on my list. That was coming out at the same time as Frieren. I only had time to watch one. I chose Frieren. I did not watch Kaiju number 8. I'm not a fan of that art style. And I did not watch Apothecary Diaries. Something about that premise just doesn't interest me. But there's a lot on that list that I just haven't watched because I just don't know enough about it, not interested in the premise, or just never heard of it. So onto the list. There's 30 of these that I have watched. Number 30, Devilman Crybaby. Edgy tryhard bullshit. The anime. It is everything I hate about the middle schooler perception of what maturity is. It is not enough to have blood and guts and tits and ass in every single frame of your show. You have to like actually do something interesting. And I don't find Devilman Crybaby interesting. I find it just edgy for edgy's sake. 29, Solo Leveling. Garbage. Straight in the garbage can. 28, Demon Slayer Season 3. This was the Swordsman Village arc. I think looking back, I haven't actually reread Demon Slayer, but like kind of like looking back and thinking back to the things that stand out to me about Demon Slayer, things I remember about Demon Slayer. I said in my Demon Slayer's bad stream a couple years ago when that manga ended that the Infinity Castle stuff was the worst part. Swordsman, I will since recant that statement. I will now recant that statement. The Swordsman Village arc is the weakest section of Demon Slayer. It's weaker than any of the Infinity Castle stuff. 27. Common Area of the Iron Fortress is just shitty, less interesting zombie Attack on Titan. 26. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I have a lot of same problems with this that I had with Devilman Crybaby. I don't like the game. I don't like the pop punk aesthetic that it goes for. I think that its pastel, shadeless art style is counterintuitive to the whole concept of cyberpunk, and I also don't like any of these characters. They're all just dumb for dumb reasons. There's dumb for interesting reasons, dumb for realistic reasons, and dumb for dumb reasons. And Cyberpunk Edge Runners tips into that dumb for dumb reasons. 25. Demon Slayer Season 2. This was the red light district, the entertainment district with the Sound Hashira. Great animation, but this was kind of like the beginning of the end for my interest in Demon Slayer as a story back when I was reading the manga. 24, ReZero Season 1. I just couldn't get into this. It was coming out around the same time as Konosuba, which didn't help. Konosuba was just taking the piss out of the isekai genre, meanwhile ReZero is trying to be like this really earnest, mature, like gloomy look at what an isekai would actually be like and what that kind of plot would do to a human psyche. I have heard things about Season 3 that make me think Season 2 must have been a wild fucking ride, because I remember watching Season 1. I think I dropped it like halfway through Season 1, though. I don't remember finishing it. And then I've heard things about Season 3, and they sound like completely different shows. And that can only mean that Season 2 was a trip. So I'm actually interested in watching this again, based on what I've seen from Season 3. 23, Spy Family. Spy Family was just boring. 22, Keep Your Hands Off Aizuken. This is the show that made me realize that I don't like entertainment about entertainment. Because this is about 3 high school girls trying to like make their own anime, and about how powerful the art of anime is and how important it is. And all I could see the whole time I was watching this was the creator jerking himself off. That's all I could see. Every line of dialogue in this just made me realize like how high on himself the creator has to be in order to be like, I'm the one who is going to preach to the masses about how artistic and how important anime is as an art form. Get over yourself. I don't know. I know this is like just me. I'm in the minority here. Because I agree like anime is important and stuff, but like just don't make a story about that. Don't show that far behind the curtain. Number 21, Beastars. Not as good as Land of the Lustrous. I think the manga is better. The CGI looks awful, I think. Everyone always praises Studio Orange on their CGI. Their CGI only looks good when it's animating featureless rock people. Or androgynous rock people, rather. Androgynous rock people and pasty moon people are the only things that look good in Studio Orange's animation engine. And I think Beastar suffers from it more so than No, I just realized. I just remembered Trigun Stampede. Trigun Stampede suffers a lot more than Beastars did, But that's more because Beastars is still a good story. I do recommend the manga. Uh, whereas Trigun Stampede is just an abomination. Worst thing I've seen in years. Number 20 is Zombieland Saga. It's fun. It's a fun twist on like idol anime and also zombie stories. No, I'm glad it exists. I'm glad someone actually decided to put those two genres together. Number 19, Violet Evergarden. I also think this show is really boring. But it's very, very pretty too. It is on here for just how pretty it is. 18, Licorice Recoil. Yuri Bait. I was also kind of bored with this by the end. 17, we're getting to the ones that I actually have respect for now. Mob Psycho 100. I could not get into Mob Psycho 100, mostly because, and I've said this before, Reagan is a very common archetype in shows that I do not like. Especially like back when I was a kid, I didn't like Hercule. King from One Punch Man is the reason why I stopped reading One Punch Man. And Reagan is that for Mob Psycho 100. And he's in Mob Psycho 100 a lot more than Hercule was in Dragon Ball or King is in One Punch Man. And I couldn't get into it because of that. I understand that, like, apparently it goes through, like, some serious cool character development later on. I don't care. I don't like characters that take credit for other people's hard work. And then and are then portrayed as the good guys. Like, if Reagan was just, like, a dickhead who got his comeuppance by the end, I would be all for it. But the fact that, like, the show keeps excusing his poor behavior and the way he treats Mob as this cash cow for his scam shop is something I couldn't care about that character or what happens to him. I couldn't get invested, and so I dropped it. Still a good show though. Love the animation. I like Mob. I like the music. That opening, one of the best of all time. Number 16, Hinamatsuri. I don't actually remember much of the show. I just remember really liking it, and I remember crying at one point. Towards the end. 15 is Megalobox. I wish the 90s anime aesthetic would come back more often. That is the highlight of this show. It's a really good, like, sports show. It's cyborg boxing. Not much to write home about, though. Number 14, Made in Abyss. This is another show I don't actually remember much about. And I haven't seen it since the anime. I know they made a couple movies. I have not sat down and watched those movies, though. I do really like the aesthetic. I like the premise of, like, going down this pit and it gets wilder and crazier the deeper you go. Just a good classic adventure story. Number 13, Chainsaw Man. I have a lot of respect for the show. I love how hard it goes. I love how hard the animation goes. I love how hard the endings go, how it has a different ending in each episode. I love that. It grossed me out. I actually dropped it when Denji got sexually assaulted. I was just not okay with that being portrayed, and I understand that it's portrayed in a very much a way you would want it to be portrayed, because it's never seen as, like, a good thing. And I've heard that this is, like, a reoccurring thing in Chainsaw Man, that every time Denji gets, like, has some kind of, like, sexual experience, whether it's, like, feeling the girl up or getting kissed, or I think in the manga he recently got jerked off, that it like just fills him with shame because what he wants isn't actually sex, it's the companionship, and that just keeps getting robbed from him. I think that is very compelling. I think that could be done very well. I just didn't like it. I didn't like that bit in season 1 of Chainsaw Man, and it made me not want to continue watching it because I was like, oh, this is just, if the whole show is just gonna be more stuff like this, I'm just I've become more and more of a prude as I've gotten older, and I'm just not into it. I'm not into that stuff anymore. I used to be when I was a younger man. Number 12 is Demon Slayer Season 1. This is peak Demon Slayer. This season is actually good. This is the best content you'll ever get from Demon Slayer. Number 11, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1. Much like Ranking of Kings, it was actually nominated twice because the first season wasn't over when it got nominated, which I hate that. Hate it. It actually made me want to put it down at the bottom. That's how much I hate the way that Crunchyroll did that. And they did it twice. They did it with Jujutsu Kaisen and Ranking of Kings. Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen is good. It's good, solid, shonen battle slop. Number 10 is Dandadan. Dandadan, I think, is what I wanted Chainsaw Man to be more like. Where it's also, like, horny and gross and gratuitous, but it's got, like, I think it has a better vibe, and I think it has more... I think it has more creative monsters to fight. At least compared to Chainsaw Man Season 1. I know Chainsaw Man later on, it gets, like, really hardcore and really just badass with its monster designs. Whereas Dandadan just kind of stays on the same level throughout its run. But I really like the show, and I really like the relationship between Momo and Okaroon. I put that on my Valentine's Day special for a reason, and I'm really excited for season 2. Actually, like, finishing up that plot with the haunted house. Number 9, Land of the Lustrous, the only good Studio Orange show to ever exist, really. Like I said, Studio Orange's CGI engine only looks good when it's animating androgynous rock people. People love the show so much that they have, like... I am convinced that people are lying to themselves. That casual anime fans have, like, deluded themselves into thinking that Trigun Stampede looks good. It looks awful. Number 8, Little Witch Academia. Very cute, very fun. It's got a lot of, like, Western animation stuff that I really dig and appreciate. Number 7, Attack on Titan, the final season, part 1. Attack on Titan is like the inverse of Demon Slayer, whereas I think Demon Slayer just started off like kind of mediocre, like just okay, and got worse and worse and worse as time went on. Attack on Titan started off really bad. Actually, it started off super strong. I think Attack on Titan has one of the best first episodes of all time. I said as much in my Attack on Titan stream a while back. Attack on Titan Season 1, or the first episode is really good, and then it just plummets off a cliff. And then it climbs up a little bit, then it sinks back down with Season 2. I think Season 2 is the worst season of Attack on Titan. And then after that, hitting rock bottom, it bounces right back up. Season 3 is awesome. The second part of Season 3 isn't quite as awesome. And then I think Season 4, the final season saga, is incredible. I think Attack on Titan just gets better and better and better as it goes on. The ending left quite a bit to be desired with the way it wrapped everything up. But I think the journey getting there and the actual, like, drama that happens with Marley and with, like, Gabby and Eren and Zeke and the other Reiner and Armin, I think everyone involved had, like, a really good storyline throughout the final season. It also validated a lot of my complaints about season 1 and 2, which was that, like, Eren is just an egregious little psycho who was... I always predicted that he was going to do what he did in the final season. It was like, okay, it wasn't just bad writing, it was intentional. Like it was it was an intentional part of his character. That made me, in retrospect, like season 1 a lot more. Number 6, Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. I think this is the best Jujutsu Kaisen is gonna get. There are some hype stuff happening that are gonna happen in season 3, and trying to think how far season 2 got and like how many chapters are in the next arc, because season 3 could be the final season. If not season 3, then season 4 definitely would be the final season. So season 3 and the potential season 4 will have some great moments in them. But I think season 2 is the only time where everything kind of came together. Like, that was a worthy, like, escalation of what happened in season 1. And I also just really like the idea, and this is going to keep coming to play through season 3, is what happens to Gojo. Like, taking Gojo out of the picture and forcing everyone else to step up their game or die. I really appreciate that. I always appreciate it when shows do this. Like, I mentioned this with One Piece. It's currently happening in Elbaf right now with Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji not being involved in the action. It happens in One Piece quite frequently, actually, where Luffy will get written out of the action, or or more than just Luffy will get written out of the action, and everyone else has to step up their game. And I think one of the best examples of that is not on this list because it didn't actually get nominated in those seasons, but the prior 2 seasons did. Number 5 and number 4 are My Hero Academia. Number 5 is My Hero Academia Season 1. Number 4 is My Hero Academia Season 2. I do think Season 2 is better than Season 1. But I brought up the other seasons as well because from Season 3 onward, like, everyone having to step up their game because All Might isn't around to save the day anymore was a really great part of that whole story. And it really helped enhance the themes at the end with Deku never actually surpassing All Might. So yeah, I love My Hero Academia. I'm super excited for the final season. I think season 3 was robbed of a nomination. I don't think it would have won. Let's see. When did My Hero Academia season 3 come out? Go back to Google. So let's say that would have been 2019. Yeah, it was 2019. That was the year Devilman Crybaby won. The year Devilman Crybaby won was the same year that My Hero Academia Season 3 came out. All for One actually won Best Antagonist, and Deku won Best Boy. Deserved on both of those. It won a couple awards, but wasn't even nominated for Anime of the Year. So yeah, it was definitely robbed of a nomination. I would have definitely put that above... I would have put... obviously, I would have put it above Devilman Crybaby, but I would have definitely put it above Hinamatsuri. I think it deserved a nomination more than Hinamatsuri or Zombieland Saga. I would have wanted to keep Megalobox and Violet Evergarden on there, though. I wouldn't want to lose those just to have My Hero Academia Season 3 on there. I think that was robbed of a nomination. Season 4 and 4 and 5, I don't think really deserve those nominations. Season 4 would come out at the same time as like Demon Slayer. Yeah, I do like Season 4 more than Demon Slayer, but like, and there's a couple here that I've never even seen, like O Maidens in Your Savage Season and Carolyn Tuesday. But Season 4 was a step down, production-wise, from the first 3 seasons. Season 5 was an even bigger step down. I think Season 5 covers the worst stretch of My Hero Academia chapters, which is the Endeavor Agency arc and then the Class 1A versus 1B arc that happened before that. It does also cover My Villain Academia, but I don't like the way that My Villain Academia was incorporated into the anime compared to what it was like in the manga. I think they kind of butchered it a little bit with season 5. And that was also the year that Jujutsu Kaisen season 1 won. And you had yeah, you kind of I don't know what Apare Ranman is, but you had Beastars, Dorohedoro, Great Pretender, and Aizuken that same year. So I would not have wanted it to be nominated then. Season 6 would have been. That have been 2022? When did it? Yeah, I think. See, what I'm saying, no matter what came out, season 6 would have also deserved to be nominated, regardless of what came out that year. So I think season 6 is. I think season 6 at the time was the best season of My Hero Academia. I think it. I actually, you know what? I think it is the best season of My Hero Academia. I think it's better than season 7 as well. It would go like 6 2. Actually, go 6 2 3 1. 6 2 3 1. No. 6 2 3 7 1 4 5. That's My Hero Academia season rankings. But above at least those 2 seasons of My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, the final season, part 2. This is the rumbling. Right? Yeah, it's the actual like build up to the rumbling, leading into those final specials. Number 2, one of my all-time favorite animes now. A Place Further Than the Universe. It's cute girls doing cute things in Antarctica, and it made me cry like a bitch. And then number 1 is obviously Frieren Beyond Journey's End. So yeah, those are all the Anime Award winners and stuff. Or winners and nominees that I've seen. I'm actually going to wrap it up here. That's all I have on the docket. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the awards, and give me topics. Give me topics to talk about. Ask me questions that I can answer on the next stream, or like give me ideas for like lists to make. Give me ideas for articles to read. Send stuff to me. I do want to make this a regular thing on my channel, just to have content that is quick and easy to make. I've been going for almost 2 hours now, and I'm gonna dip. Click on the links in the description to join my Patreon, my Discord, and to check out my bookshop. Hellfire Brats, Nephilim's Train, and Grand Selection are all available now, with the Golden Key coming later this year. And if I'm lucky, I'll also have Book 5 out at the end of the year. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for joining me. And until next time, I'm Mediocrity4. Thanks for watching.